This might sound arrogant, and if it is, we're Michigan.
I'm telling them it's not over. It's just starting. It's not over. It'll never be over here.
Welcome back, Bitter Rivals, Ted and Tom. Ted, we got some irony going on this weekend. Michigan's playing Nebraska. Now, if Michigan beats Nebraska, State pretty much locks in, if I'm not mistaken, the Legends' berth as far as the division winner, and then they get to go to Indy.
Well, they would lock in the Legends championship.
Right.
Because they have the head-to-head with Michigan. So they can, as long as they beat Indiana, or at least they win one of the next two.
Right.
I don't think there is. I hope, I'm hoping for another suspension of a starter. They lost a wide receiver about a week ago, kicked him off the team. So I don't expect anything, any nerves coming Saturday against Indiana. It's going to be senior day. It's the winningest class in MSU history in football. Conversely, Tom, can we say that this is the losingest class in U of M?
Well,
at least in the last 50 years?
Well, it is. I mean, this is the first team. Michigan's had 8 wins since 2007. Mike Martin never beat Michigan State this year. I mean, there's some of the statistics are just, mind-boggling. But the thing is, that's going to end now. Because what happened with Michigan State is just like with Michigan State basketball in the 90s when Tom Izzo came on board. Michigan went down in basketball with a scandal, obviously opened the door for Sparty. What Michigan did in football, Lloyd Carr goes out the door. They bring in a bad hunter in Rich Rod and opens the door for Sparty.
Two different things. First of all, it was the biggest scandal in NCAA basketball history. What they did to Lloyd Carr was, I think, unconscionable. You and I both know I was not a Lloyd Carr fan, but year in, year out, this guy delivered 10-win seasons. And in fact, the year before he was retired, he was playing for 1-2 in the last game of the season against Ohio State. And it just wasn't good enough for Michigan standards. In comes the outsider, Rich Rod. You dug your own grave.
Well, I know but that's the point. The point I'm making, though, Ted, is the fact that Michigan brought down Michigan, which opened the door for Sparty. Had Michigan not opened the door, but these ridiculous screw-ups with the NCAA scandal and then the ridiculous hire in Rich Rodriguez, Michigan State would not have had that door to go through and get their program up to snuff.
Well, it's what you do with the opportunities. And, hats off to Mark D'Antonio. I said when he was hired, the way you evaluate Mark D'Antonio is in his 4th and 5th year and beyond, because that's when he's got all his players into the program. He's got his starters in place, the kids that he's recruited. And, like Trenton Robinson said, he hopes that the record that this senior class has is just held for 1 year, that next year's senior class breaks this year's senior class records in the winningest program. And I think that's going to happen.
Well, the other thing is this senior class goes with 4 bowl losses. That's not good either. I mean, that goes.
Who started that tradition?
Well, Rick Leach had 4 bowl losses, and that's what people think about. It's how you do in the bowl game.
And what do they remember Bo Schembechler
about? Bo, he lost 8 in a row before he won. Well, Mark D'Antonio's heading down that path. But before let's get back to that first topic we had about who are you going to be cheering about? Michigan plays Nebraska, 1 o'clock at the Big House. Who do you want to win that game? Do you want the insurance policy?
No.
Or are you going to just take care of business at Northwestern?
Don't want it. Just can't do it. I cannot root for Michigan, even in this type of scenario where there's a lot to be gained with a Michigan win for Michigan State.
Insurance policy.
I just want to win it on our own merits. I don't want any help from you guys. Thanks, but no thanks.
Mark, if you win Saturday, you'll clinch the division. If Michigan beats Nebraska, can you root for Michigan for a week?
Nope, sorry, I can't.
I'd actually be in the same situation because if State loses one of these last 3, they shouldn't even be in the Big Ten title game as far as I'm concerned. It's just the Big Ten is just not a vintage Big Ten team. Wisconsin's the best team in the Big Ten. They're going to prove it on December 3rd. I guarantee you that. They're going to beat Sparty, and Sparty's going to be there.
We shall see. The only thing I'll say about Wisconsin is Wisconsin has been the only team so far this season that's been able to run effectively against Michigan State's
exactly
defense.
The reason they're going to beat them.
But, again, it's a neutral site. I think we're going to have good representation from both teams that are going to be there. And may the best team win, Michigan State.
And a neutral site, unlike the first game of the year when Michigan State won in the last play, with Keith Nickel. That was at Spartan Stadium.
I don't even want to get into that.
That was an even game on an uneven field.
That's a subject for a whole different matter. It should never have been that close. I blame just terrible officiating, but that's another segment for another time.
Another time will be next week. Stay tuned for next week. Bitter Rivals with Ted and Tom. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
LSU rivalry has gone. It's gone, well, frankly, to the billboards. Check out what we found out last night. Near the Frandor Shopping Center in East Lansing, a digital billboard ripping Michigan just every way you can, minutes after the game. It's sponsored by Bitter Rivals, who started a website called MichiganIsOurLittleSister.com. There are 8 different images, and they will be up all week in Frandor and one on I-96. Bitter Rivals paid a few $1,000s for those, and you can get all sorts of mementos if you go there. Really? If you're really into the little sister thing and you really want to rub it into your Michigan fan.
All right.
They got it covered.
Well,